Hi everyone, I'm Joe. Today it's time for me to do the Hopeful Book tag. This tag was originally created by my friend Raya, whose channel is The Book Finch, and I was tagged to do this by my other friend Kelsey, whose channel is The Fancy Hat Lady Read. I will link both of their channels in the description box below, of course, as you would expect, and I would recommend checking out both of their channels because they are both truly nice people whom I'm very happy and proud to be able to class as friends, and I've actually met both of them in person as well, which I'm particularly pleased with. Anyway, as far as this tag is concerned, the premise of it is quite simple. It is indeed hopeful, therefore optimistic about the world and people around you, and it's trying to be thinking forward about things that could be better or improved, and being grateful for what you have, frankly. If you know me for any length of time from previous videos, you will know that I've always classed myself, and always will, as an eternal optimist. I always think the best of people and situations, and indeed I live my life by thinking about plan for the worst, but expect the best, and it often happens, at least I find so. So, without further delay, I'll get straight on talking about the prompts, of which there are 5. And the first of them is a book world you'd like our world to take some influence from. And for this, I'm going to choose a familiar author. If you watched my channel, especially a few years ago when I was reviewing nearly every one of his books, and that is Peter F. Hamilton and his Greater Commonwealth Universe. This is The Dreaming Void, which is the first book in the Void trilogy, which is this is actually the very first book by him that I ever actually picked up, in case you're curious. And indeed, I love this particular book. The Greater Commonwealth is basically humanity that has expanded from Earth, expanded to the galaxy and to the galaxy, and in some cases even beyond. The technology is obviously ridiculously advanced, both medical and other things, and indeed war is there as well. You can't get past that. But for the most part, it's a society that is relatively calm, generally speaking. We live lives of relative luxury, and there's certain aspects of it that I think is really good. I mean, for one thing, one of the things that I love about this universe is the fact that wormhole technology exists. So you can essentially get on a train, and rather than just going down the road to the other side of the country, the train will go through a wormhole and appear on a tracks on another planet, which I'm keen on. I mean, I'm quite keen on trains anyway. Sitting on them, I find it nice and relaxing. So the thought of going on one for a wormhole and going to another planet, that appeals no end to me. But there's many other technology apart from just being enthusiastic on trains. The medical technology is extremely advanced, and people don't really die of medical illnesses anymore. I mean, illness is almost been eliminated for the most part. Disease, again, is so advanced that pretty much a non-issue. So obviously, what with the current situation in the world, that wouldn't happen in this world. So there's a lot of things that would be ideal if they were to come to pass in ours, which obviously I personally hope some of them do. Especially the train game with wormholes. I greatly like that, for obvious and somewhat silly reasons. Anyway, the second prompt is a book about finding acceptance and love. For this, I'm going to choose a book that I've read relatively recently, and indeed I read as part of the book club that Raya does, whose tag this actually is, and that is Love After the End, edited by Joshua Whitehead. This was a short story collection by a group of authors that I've almost never heard of any of them. It was about basically people finding all the forms of them there. It's not just male and female love. It was about, basically, it's a book, I think this subtag was Create Indigenous Love or something. Basically people just accepting each other for who and what you are. That's something that I'm a big believer in. Just say, what if somebody likes the same sex? That doesn't mean that they're somehow a criminal. That just means they're different from you, maybe, depending on your preferences. But what does it matter? I mean, ultimately, we're all just trying to find a way of being healthy and happy in this world. So why try and control people? I mean, things going on in the world now that are horrific to do with that, and more acceptance and more tolerance for people is what we all want, and frankly what we need. If you can find more tolerance and stop trying to persecute each other for some difference that doesn't make any difference to you personally, it'll be a better planet, frankly. The next prompt is a non-fiction book that made you appreciate the world around you. And for this, I'm going to choose one that might sound a strange one. Frankly, it's one of the very few non-fiction books I've read in recent years, so I didn't have much of a choice, frankly. But that is Astounding by Alec Navala Lee, edited by, I should say, well, and written by. This is might sound a strange choice, but finding appreciating the world around me, but that's because, frankly, this is describing the story of the Astounding magazine and John W. Campbell and the whole situation there, the sort of golden years of science fiction. And frankly, that was a time when it wasn't about acceptance or people trying to find equality. This was John W. Campbell trying to find a cult of personality and being basically a pretty ignorant piece of unpleasantness, let's say, and not being generally good to anybody. He was very much the case of if I like you, then I'll help you. If I don't, then I won't. Especially if there's a lot of sexism at the time was rampant, really badly. Yes, it still is to a degree now, but nowhere near what it was then. Racism was extremely bad then, still is, but again, lessened greatly. And this is a time that I'm glad that we're in the past now, because it was an intolerant time. Yes, we're certainly not past that intolerance and those ideas, sadly, but we're getting there, frankly. And reading this makes you think, actually, I'm glad that things have slightly started to change. We're nowhere near the end, but there is a path forward, I feel. And it shows that, yes, whilst there's a lot of whole people in the world, a lot of them, there's a good amount of them in science fiction itself, we can do better, and we will. In time, we'll all do better. The fourth prompt is a book about community and people working together for the benefit of all. And for this, I'm going to choose two books, and that is Glass and Garden Solarpunk Summers and Glass and Garden Solarpunk Winters, both edited by Serena Olibari. These are two short story collections that I read in the last couple of years. I greatly enjoyed both of them. I did not do individual reviews of both of these, but frankly, which I almost regret now. If I reread them, I actually might do a joint review of them, actually. In fact, that might be a good idea. I really like this is about, obviously, Solarpunk is a very specialised subgenre of science fiction, where basically it's about renewable resources, specifically energy, but all the renewable resources in general as well, and about trying to manage with what you have and trying to basically improve the world around you in a sustainable way that actually, that we can keep going and we're not keep using fossil fuels, for instance, which ultimately everybody knows we do have to go away from fossil fuels because they are finite, frankly, so we can't keep relying on them forevermore because they won't be there forevermore. So we've got to find something else. What that will be, is up for debate, frankly, because, obviously solar, wind, but the effectiveness of both, we'll see in time. But these are hopeful, and I did like these. These are very much optimistic books, which frankly is me, very much so. And the fifth and final prompt for this video is shout out 3 booktubers who inspire you with their positive energy. And the first of the booktubers I'm going to mention is indeed the person who tagged me, that is Kelsey, known as the fancy lady reads. Kelsey is the one person I've found in recent years whom I'd actually say is closest to me in terms of being optimistic and cheerful and the same sort of general outlook on life. Very few people I actually consider to have that kind of view, because I'm kind of like fairly extreme with that. I'm very, very optimistic to kind of like a ridiculous level. Kelsey's actually close to being that level to me, what I've always found, and I really do like Kelsey as a person. She's a genuinely nice person, and she's a nice person to be around. I actually feel happier being around her, and I mean, obviously I would recommend her channel, obviously. Yeah, and Kelsey's just she's a nice person, frankly. The second person that I'm going to talk about and be rather enthusiastic about is indeed known for her enthusiasm, which I mention frequently, and that is Rachel, known as Calnardi. If you know my channel for any length of time at all, you will know who Rachel is, because I keep mentioning her very, very frequent indeed. Because Rachel has an enthusiasm when talking about books, or indeed anything that she's passionate about, like obviously all her craft work, she's very passionate about that, or anything else, and her enthusiasm for it makes you almost want to, even me, I feel like I almost want to take up some sort of craft thing myself, which is an achievement, making me feel like that over craft thing, which I never would have expected. But Rachel's enthusiasm is so infectious, and she's there, and she's got a certain way of laughing and smiling about what she's talking about, and a certain way of getting truly into it that makes you think, actually, that might be really interesting to do, or read, or try, whatever the case may be. And she's a good person to know, frankly, and I like Rachel a lot, unsurprisingly. And the last person that I'm going to talk about is Shannon from the channel That's So Po. I've actually met Shannon in person. Actually, I've met Kelsey and Rachel in person as well. Shannon is a really nice person, as you would expect. I mean, I'm not going to choose somebody as a whole, frankly, to recommend. Shannon has got a way of looking at the world that I really like. She does videos occasionally with her husband Thush, whom I also have met and really like, and they're like a really nice couple, and indeed a really nice booktube couple. They genuinely enjoy being in each other's company, and they would just work really well together. The way they interact, like almost like couple goals, frankly. And if I was going to have a sort of book enthusiastic significant other, I want to be in a relationship like them too, because they just work well together, bounce off each other well, and they're just a really nice pair to be around. Shannon in particular, obviously, for the purpose of this question, she's a nice person, and they also, by the way, the two most intelligent book related people that I know, for the record as well. And with that said, that is actually it for this video. Now, part of this, as always, tag videos is to tag all booktubers. I'm not going to do that. I almost never do, because frankly I never know who has done what tag at this point, and I'm not going to start going checking through people, because that's just frankly annoying and long-winded. Suffice to say, if you like the sound of this, or if you're one of the people that I mentioned and you haven't done it, then please feel free to class me as having tagged you, and have fun trying to come up with some interesting questions. This was actually quite a challenging one, because you think, being an optimist by nature, this would be easy for me to come up with answers. Not as much, actually. Somewhat of a challenge, which is why I definitely wanted to do it for. Anyway, if you've read any of these particular books and you'd like to talk about them, then leave me a comment, or you'd like to know more information. I'll try to answer to the best of my ability. I will link all of the people that I've mentioned in the description box below, obviously, as well as these books. And with that said, that is it for this video. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you another day. Bye for now.